So let's get a slice out of here. Oh, that is tremendous. Oh, that smell of that fruit coming out of there. Oh, it's still a bit warm. Look at that. That is absolutely phenomenal. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we are doing a Scottish classic. We are making a clouty dumpling. Now, I can tell you right now, I've not made this for 30 years. So this could turn out to be quite interesting. Okay, not a problem. Bowl, flour. And this is beef suet. That's going in there. Now, what I do I always mix up the suet and flour. Nice breadcrumbs, as per usual when you're making any pastry at all. I like to mix it in first. Now you don't have to do it this way, you can just chuck it all in a bowl and mix it up. I just think this is a better even distribution of the fats in there, so when it actually cooks and boils in the water, it's already through there. Now I always do it this way, like I say. If you choose to chuck it all in a bowl, that's up to you. Now this is actually a special request as it happens. It came in on one of my other videos, and it came in by a young lady called Henrietta. Now, Henrietta is 74 years old and she lives in Ireland. So here we go, this is for Henrietta. Now like I say, I've not made this in 30 years, so I have no idea how this is going to turn out. I can't even pull on my memory strings, you know. I just can't remember. So we're just going to put it all together from a recipe that I do remember. And let's hope it works. So there we go, we're mixing in our suet and our flour. Now this is self-raising flour, and the suet I'm using is a Tora suet. It's a beef suet. You can use veg suet if you so wish, entirely up to you. And I do realise a lot of people can't get suet around the world, or box suet. Now suet is actually from around the kidneys of the beef, and it's the hard fat. So if you can get yourself down to a butcher, get that and then blend it with some flour, you have suet. It's as easy as that. So then we have our suet flour mix. Where are we? I want a spoon. We're going to put all this together. Now I am going in there with a little bit of salt. Salt is completely optional. Let's have that turned in. I've got brown sugar. Now there's all our spices. Let's give that a good mix in there. Now I'm using brown sugar. You can use white sugar if you so wish. But you know, I think brown sugar works really well with puddings and fruit. But again, up to you. So let's give that a good mix in. Very straightforward this. This is the easy part to the recipe because it's basically just chuck it all in. It's the cooking that's a real pain. You've got to wrap all this mixture up inside a clouty, a clout. Now let me show you what a clout is. That's a clout, some cloth. Apparently, I don't speak Scottish, but clout is Scottish for cloth. And don't forget, there's some fantastic recipes that have influenced things around the world that have come out of Scotland, you know. And don't forget the whiskey. Scottish whiskey has influenced everything in the whiskey world. snuck across to Ireland and then went off around the world, and you've got some fantastic whiskies now. Anyway, we digress. There's our mixed mixture. So just add your fruit in there, and we're going to mix that in there too. So stir all that through so it's all fully combined. That's looking fantastic. I want a well in there. Get all well in there. Right, I'm going in there, which is completely optional, with some molasses. Now, you don't have to add molasses. You can add black treacle if you so wish, but this is an optional ingredient. I just think it gives it that depth of flavour, and it also adds to the blackness, the colour that we want. We want a dark colour. Okay, now I've covered myself in molasses. We're going in there with a beaten egg, and we're going in there with some buttermilk, and then we are going to mix it into a sticky dough. And that's about as sticky as that's going to get. So that's in there. Smashing. Right, we need to prepare our clute. All you've got to do is wet your clute. Now give it a good old-fashioned soaking. Now this has already been boiled water, but it's warm enough to put my hands in, obviously. Make sure you give it a real good soaking, and then we're going to wring it out. Give it a wring out. Now this cannot be dry, but it cannot be wet through either. This is where we prepare our clute dumpling. Now this is how I do it, but you can do it any which way you want. That's entirely up to you. Right, we have to put some flour in here. Now, the flour forms the skin on the clute. So we're going to chuck a bit of flour in there, and we're just going to come up the sides a little bit. Now, like I say, I've not made this in absolute years, 30 years. But I know we don't want all that flour in there. And then we are putting our mix in there. Okay, there's our dumpling. Right, I'm just going to push it down a little bit with a spoon and bring it into more of a rounded shape. Now, it's not essential to do this because we're going to screw it all up in a minute. But we're trying to bring it all together to keep it together if we can. Now, I think that's a pretty good mix actually for 30 years. So there we have it. Let's put that back in there. We're not going to waste that little bit, are we? Just going to put a little bit of flour on there. To me, there's not enough on there. Come around the top. Now, don't worry if you get a little bit of flour on your dumpling. You know, it's going to be sitting in water. It's going to add to the skin. And then we bring it all together. So you can see why I've done it in a bowl. It just makes it so much easier to bring together. Okay, now here's the thing. Don't squash it all too tight. Okay, you need some slack in there. You know, we want some slack in. This thing is going to expand a little bit. So we need some string. Any old twine will do, doesn't matter. Let's have a decent bit of that. And then we're just going to tie it off. Nice double knot over there, that ain't going to fall off there. In fact, it might be a bit of a bugger to take off, but there you go. And then we just finish it off. That is our dumpling. We've got two ends there. You can either tie it over your pan if you so wish, that's up to you. That's our dumpling. We are now going to submerge that in some boiling water. Okay, we are going to put a small plate in the bottom of there. Now that's going to sit our dumpling up so it doesn't catch on the pan at the bottom. So we're just going to get some water in there. And I'm going to put some boiling water in just to warm it up really quickly. And here it comes. We take our clouty, dump it in there. We're going to need probably a little bit more water. We're going in with a little bit more water. It's just not quite enough. Bring it to the boil. Now I've got these ends, look, as you can see. You don't have to do this, obviously. You know, you could just let it sit in there if you so wish. But that makes a fantastic little drawstring to sit on there. And this makes a little fantastic drawstring to sit on here. And then we're just going to take a lid. If you have a close fitting lid that fits, that's fine. If you don't, like me, this is a different pan, not for this lid, just put the lid on. So we're going to bring that up to the boil and we're going to simmer boil that for 2.5 hours. And that should be fine. So that's it. 2.5 hours. We'll have another look. Okay, this has been simmering away for about 2.5 hours. Right, we need to get that out of there. Now, this is the good thing about the strings that we tied on. Okay, just undo your strings. Now be careful because obviously this is boiling. Now, this is what I do. Okay, everybody can do it differently, up to you. That is our clouty dumpling and it's going in there. Okay, this is what I thought and this is the way I'm going to do it. I've got a tray, I've got a bottomless flan tin. That is going on there, going in the oven. Okay, we just need to come in here and we need to undo our strings. Undo or cut. Whew. Just be careful, this is red hot. Okay, the moment of truth. Let's open that up and see our stodgy mess. Oh, there's not much of a skin on this side. Oh, that will do nicely. Oh, that will do nicely. Now don't forget we're going to turn it over. Okay, now this is my thought. I've got this tin and obviously it's a bottomless tin. So what we're going to do, we're going to put that on there like that. Just fold that back up there like that. In fact, we can't fold it up like that, can we? Don't be silly. And then we're going to get our tray like that. And we're going to flip it over. Like that. Just take our ball off there. Ease off our cloth. our cloutie. Ease off our cloutie. And look at that beauty. That is amazing. Now, depending where you are and who does this, some people sprinkle over the top a little bit of sugar. Now, this is completely optional, but you know, it soaks into that stickiness on the top of there. And then when you bake it in the oven, the sugar bakes on. Now, like I say, this is completely optional. You either want it or you don't. And there we have it. Right, that's going in the oven. It's going in the oven, 180 degrees. It's only going in there for possibly 5-6 minutes, just so we get that nice dry crust on the top. Let's get it in the oven. So I've got that in there, 180 for about 7 minutes. We're going to watch it and then we'll probably take it out. Okay, I think that's good enough. I don't think we need to take that any further than that. So let's have that off. Let's get this out. So that's our cloutie dumpling made. Look at that, fantastic. It's got that lovely brown glaze over there where we've melted that sugar on the top of there in the oven for those 5 minutes. That looks sensational. All we're going to do now is let it cool down and we will cut a slice. Now, it's best to eat this served warm, not hot. Now, you can eat it hot if you want to, but if you let it cool down and serve it warm, it comes together and you can take a nice slice. So we'll just leave it to cool down. That looks absolutely phenomenal. Now you can see why I've used this tin like this, is so we can take out the bottom. So there you go, there's our cloutie dumpling made. All we got to do now is take a slice. So let's get a slice out of here. Oh, that is tremendous. Oh, that smell of that fruit coming out of there. Oh, it's still a bit warm. Look at that. That is absolutely phenomenal. Now, of course, you can serve this up with anything you want, whether you want ice cream, custard, brandy sauce, anything like that. I've got some fantastic packet custard already made up. Let's get that on there. Oh, there we go. We've smothered it in custard. All we got to do now is give it a taste test. Oh, come on. Oh, look in there. Oh, that is tremendous. Oh. Oh, come on. That is Christmas, New Year right there. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Well, that is cloutie dumpling made, and this was a request from Henrietta. Henrietta, there you go, there's your cloutie dumpling made. If you like what we're doing, don't forget, smash that like and subscribe, share with your friends, all that kind of stuff. We'll catch you in the next video.